Well, hello, YouTube land. I want to talk about my take on the whole immigrant thing and people getting deported. I really don't blame Trump that it has come to this. I really blame the Biden-Harris administration. They knew what they were putting these people through, first of all. They knew what they were putting these people through. If America, it could have been any president, it didn't have to be Trump. It could have been anybody else that won. If they decide that they want to put an end to illegal immigration, if they want to touch it at all, I've seen people, like for example, I've seen people go to court for something, for simple assault, being involved in something. They were just there. I've seen cases, where people were running from immigration. They were running from, they didn't want to have any contact with any law enforcement agencies because they knew they were illegal. And this was going on during Obama's reign and earlier. Okay? I can't remember exactly when it was, but I know it was before Trump. Okay? They were scared. I don't want to say the word. They were scared poopless. Okay? They were scared. They did not want to end up at the scene of a crime or they didn't even want to talk to the police to report a crime or anything. They were afraid anything could get them deported. So they knew how serious this is. It's kind of like a big fight out going in a classroom at a local school. And everybody in class gets suspended. And there's only 4 or 5 kids in the classroom now. And they're all looking at each other like, where'd everybody go? It's biblical. This kind of discipline is biblical. It is. This kind of discipline is biblical. God himself did it in the book of Exodus. He freed the people. But when they committed sins against the God of Israel, especially sins that involve 2 people, it takes you to agree or harm. It takes you to agree with another person or to harm another person. So there's 2 people. There's either 2 suspects and one's a suspect and one's a victim. When they committed these kinds of crimes, they were killed. They weren't deported. They were killed. Okay? But America can at any time. Let's get this pot of coffee started right here. Put your sunglasses back on, because this is the truth. Get your coffee out and get your sunglasses back on. America can deport anyone who doesn't have perfect legal standing in a snap of a finger. You could be thinking that you could be a politician. You could be, a police officer. Okay, you could be, you could have gotten into anything thinking that you're protected because you have a career and you're working for the government or you're working even for the White House or whatever. And you're up there, preaching, Republicancy or a Democrat or whatever. And as soon as you get done with your speech, they're waiting for you at the door. You could be, and I'm looking at people, and I feel for them. Look, I feel for them. I feel their pain. I put myself in their shoes. But at the same time, all the times that I've been evicted for not paying my rent, and I had to go out there and beg somebody, I had to go tell somebody, I'm going through a situation right now. Now, this time it ain't my fault, okay? Somebody else's fault. But all the times that I've been evicted for not paying my rent, and I ended up going through things that I didn't want to go through and going all the way back down to the bottom and having to work my way back up. This time I worked my way back up. That whole Uber Lyft thing messed me up more than it helped me. And now I'm back to a situation and I didn't do the right thing. But as far as me being in a place where I might not be able to stay, that's not my fault. However, I could have prepared for this, knowing that these things happen. I could have prepared for this. I could have made sure that I had my account well situated enough to stall for time. If I had a certain amount of money in my account, I wouldn't have to ask anybody for anything, and I would just, do whatever I needed to do but I didn't do that because I thought that, pretty soon I'm going to build this money back up. But in the process of building that money back up and getting that money back into my account, they decided to do this little stunt that they just pulled. That was not fair, and everybody agrees that it's not fair. But at the same time, can't nobody help me. Okay. And so I know I'm right now. I'm feeling what they're feeling. I'm fearful like they're fearful. I'm afraid like they're afraid. Okay. I am. And it's a shame. But Americans, let's get this in our thick skull. America has never been a place where immigrants can go. And see, this is my problem. This is my problem with the attitude of the immigrants. I was watching Kingdom Reacts. And right behind the screen here, I put him on pause. He's doing a video about, there was a woman, she looked like a Spanish woman, that was attacked by an immigrant, another Spanish immigrant, and he, for some reason, just unalived her. He just killed her in the most gruesome way. Now, being she's Spanish, maybe they knew each other. That's what everybody's trying to figure out. The investigation is trying to figure out what the man's motive was. What if he doesn't have a motive? Like, what was the motive of that dude that set that woman on fire on the subway in New York? What was his motive? Oh, you say mental illness. Okay, how many of them we got going around? How many mentally illness people are we going to let run around out there? just setting people on fire, just, stabbing people and throwing chemicals on people, setting people on fire, whatever. The New York dream is over. And I almost applied for a job in New York because I wanted to get out of Pittsburgh so bad. And this was right in the middle of all this immigrant crap. Until Trump showed up. Right before Trump got in office, that situation. It was either right after Trump got in office or right before Trump got in office that fool did that. But the other thing we have to understand about illegal immigration is that people that come here to the U.S., whether they be legal, see, a lot of Indian Arab guys are coming in here legally, and they're still building terror cells in our country. They're still getting caught, siding with the terrorists, siding with Al Qaeda or the Taliban or whoever. Okay? It's a shame. And even if they come in here legally, and see, I can understand the way Trump is reading all this, because I'm looking at the fact that we got people coming in here legally that are getting deported because of what they support, what they've been caught trying to establish, what kind of teams and groups that they've tried to form. How many people do you think come into this country that really care about America? And a lot of these people, we're finding out now, that supported Trump. Hold up, something. What's going on here? A lot of these people that supported Trump, they only supported Trump because they want other Spanish people to be out of here. They're worried about what other Spanish people are going to do to them. They don't care about America. And we just found that out. Like, oh yeah, they knew that they were illegal. And they went on the Trump train. But if you voted illegally if you're not legal. And I don't care who signed you up, I don't care what kind of ID got you in there, and I don't care what was going on in your specific, and see, people do this. They do this. It's not just, people in the White House that are hating on Trump, and so they have these things that they do. But it's people all around the globe in America that will do illegal things to win votes. These people, somehow, they not only voted, but they were on the Trump train. And the people that allow their ID or their lack thereof to get them in to those voting booths probably thought that they were naturally going to vote Democrat because they're not legal. But they voted for Trump. And now people are thinking that it's the worst thing ever that Donald Trump is deporting people that voted for him. And they're calling it personal. No, it's not personal. Nothing personal here, folks. Trump made a decision to deport all illegals. He cannot deport people from Sudan and people from the Middle East and not deport Spanish people. He cannot deport Spanish people, okay, from one colony. He can't deport people from Guatemala and not deport people from Honduras or Venezuela. He has to deport all illegals. He cannot show favoritism. And I'm sure he has. I have favoritism. I know what kind of Spanish groups I like Puerto Ricans. I have Puerto Rican friends. And I gotta admit, I ain't heard from them for a while. I ain't seen them on Facebook. They've been quiet lately. If I go to their channel, who knows what I'm gonna see? Oh, they were afraid of deportation, and boom, then it happened. But I like Puerto Ricans. I think Puerto Ricans are some of the better Spanish colonies out there. They don't have a whole lot of history of violence like, the average Mexican or, Guatemalans or anything like that. Honduras, okay. And I have a friend from Honduras, a lady that I really, really liked. We worked together, and she was a good worker. And she was really, really trying to, relax her feet. And for some reason, I feel like she might have got deported. Because I know she didn't live in this country that long. And I know she came here struggling with money. And she lived in Las Vegas for a while. And Las Vegas was crazy. I'm thinking, how do you start in Las Vegas? No, sweetheart. You don't start in Las Vegas and then come here to Pittsburgh. You start in Pittsburgh, and then when money is good, and then when you're legal and everything, and you got everything going good for you, then you go to Las Vegas. Las Vegas is like, supposed to be like one of them states that's like heaven on earth. If you can live in Las Vegas, my goodness, woman, like, come on. But she was in Las Vegas. I think she had a boyfriend in Las Vegas. Or she got divorced in Las Vegas. I'm not sure. So she left Las Vegas. Her mom lives in Las Vegas. And now, do I feel that Trump should allow some people that are illegal to stay here? Yeah, I do. Especially if you're elderly. If you're elderly, you're 70 years old and up. You know what I mean? If you're a child without parents, I think, though, on both parties, both Democratic and Republican, they keep the children unless the parents have a good flight out of here some kind of way or something, and they promise their destination to be safe. They keep the kids. I think going all the way back to Obama, they've been keeping the kids. The kids have to be in a safe environment in order to leave here, I think. And that has been a problem because they brought these kids across the border, or these kids, they took them with them when they climbed over the wall, whichever one they did. And so they figure they can do the same to get out of here. The kids were good enough to come in here illegally. They're safe enough to leave out of here illegally. That's the way they're looking at it. But I think they've been keeping the kids. I think we have a lot of illegal Spanish-speaking and other races-speaking kids that have no, and what are we going to do about that? Now, that's something that we can talk about within the Republican House. Since the president right now is a Republican, we can get together and talk about that. What are we going to do with these kids? Okay. But blame Biden and Harris and Obama for these people coming in here getting comfortable here and thinking that it's okay. See, as an American, if I were to live in the Philippines right now, like the Philippines is one country, if anybody's been watching any of my channels, the Philippines is a country that I want to go to so bad because of what I see about it every day. I just want to be there. And I might get out there and I might fall in love with the place. But you also know I will never give up my American status. I will be out there as an American. Proud to be an American. And whatever I do to help your community in the Philippines, okay, or communities, I should say, I'm an American, and I'm proud to be an American. But what I ain't gonna do is go outdoors and flag the American flag. What I ain't gonna do is tell people, I did a video about this. I'm not gonna tell people how to run their religions, and I'm not gonna tell people the way it's supposed to be when. What country is this? Oh, I better catch up with myself. This ain't America. And there's a lot of people, especially Democrats, who don't feel you get to be personal about the United States. It's none of it's any of our country. What is it then? What is it? Really, there's a lot of people, especially Democrats, that feel that America is nobody's country. It belongs to everybody. The only reason why you say that, is because it is powerful, it is large, and it is safe. Even Russia knows better than to mess with us. Russia's the biggest country. Russia knows better than to mess with us. And your rights and your stay here and all like that is going to be better than it would be even in Russia, China, Japan. Your livelihood here is going to be better. Sure, you can get used to living for less and living with less in the continent of Asia or in Russia. But you are set here in America. It's everybody knows this. And they lie. They know that there's nothing quite like being an American. And we don't mind calling ourselves Americans regardless of whether we're white, black, Asian, Spanish, Middle Eastern, okay, African, whatever. We don't mind calling ourselves proud Americans. I was born and raised here. I'm assuming, without knowing for sure, but I'm assuming from my grandmother that my ancestors were part of the slave trade. And so that people don't understand, and this is what black people don't understand. They don't understand that if you are from the slave trade, if you are victims or aftermath of the slave trade, you are also seniority in this country. Because of that, you are also seniority in this country. Now, there's a lot of white people out there that will make you feel like, oh, well, if you still got an issue with slavery, take your butt to whatever country you come from. If I want to treat a black man a certain way, I'm going to treat him a certain way because he's not an American. See, that's the flip side of the stupidity. Okay? And I've had some of the Americans, white Americans that I thought were my friends, laugh in my face when I called myself an American. I said, "What's so funny, man? What? I'm not an American." You're funny. What? Huh? Excuse me? But nevertheless, most white people will tell me, "You're right. You're right. We are Americans." Okay? But white people came over here just like... The only difference between white people and everybody else is that they were the first to come over here. But see, this is what black people and other, melanated nations have to understand, though. If you win the war, you get the country. The white people did come over here, and they did replace the Indians, however they replaced them. I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole, but however they replaced the Indians, the natives, they did it. Whether you want to say they poisoned them, or it was a peace treaty, or from what last I checked, they're still here. Natives are still here. They're all over the place. What's dumb about them is their way, instead of leaving, they would rather live on reservations and stuff like that. Everybody wants to go back to some past culture. Your past culture isn't feeding you. It's not keeping food in your stomach. It's not keeping you alive. It's not giving you status. Your past culture that is dead and gone is not doing anything for you. Your ancestors are in the grave that you're praying to are not doing anything for you. If you're in a satanic enough cult, you might think they're doing something for you, but they're not doing nothing. The only thing that's helping you right now, whether you're white, black, or whatever you are, Indian, whatever you are, the only thing that's doing anything for you right now is your right now status. Your job, what you do to make a living, who you know, who you stay away from, who your God is, and how patriotic you are about this country. Not how patriotic you are about your dress code or your reservation or your, religion. No, how patriotic you are about this country. Many Christians, you found out through Trump, are very patriotic about this country because they believe that the founding fathers of this nation were Christians, or thought they was, or was trying to be. Nevertheless, we all are still living under a Christian umbrella. That's why white people, and some blacks, are patriotic about this country, because they come from a Christian background all their lives, going all the way back before they were born. Jesus was in the family. And whether they were a slap in Jesus' face because they never lived righteously, they never lived according to that Bible, or whether they was just too Christian, so Christian that they was no earthly good. Whatever the case, they are patriotic about this country because they believe it to be Christian. Those two things have to come together. Faith, practice, and the country. The country politics. Faith, practice, and the country politics have to come together. And people have a tendency to think that we're not supposed to be talking about politics in church. What did you find out over the last few years? If you don't preach politics in church, somebody pagan is going to come into your church and speak them for you. If you don't stand up for the right side, if you don't pick a side, somebody's going to come into your church that shouldn't be in your church and try to help you pick a side. That's just like, that gay LGBTQ lady that got up there at the Trump. Somehow they snuck her in there during Trump's inauguration or whatever that meeting was. They snuck her gay behind in there, and her in there asking Trump not to hurt the people. Everything from the LGBTQ community all the way to deportations. She wasn't just speaking for herself, she was working for somebody. She was trying to continue the agenda. She wasn't just up there for herself. She was working for somebody. She wasn't up there just for her church. She was working for somebody. And I know some of them people sitting in that crowd behind Trump were fornicators. But they're all looking at her like, woman, are you okay? Have you lost your frickin' bloody mind? Like, what have you been smoking? This is a Trump administration, woman, We don't need to hear about this. That's something you want to take up with the Democrats. They lost. Have you forgot? They lost. So if we want mass deportation, because we won, if we want, to go against the LGBTQ, which we vowed to do so, how you going to come in here for one little last swing at us? It was mind-boggling for her to be there. How did she get in here? We're still trying to figure that out right now as I speak. Like, people keep showing video footage of this. Like, how did that woman get in there? What was she thinking? Like, but anyway. I feel for the people that are being deported. Do I believe Trump should have mercy on some people? Yeah, I believe that if you're a business owner, don't just deport these people. But Trump made a vow. He signed an executive order. He has to fulfill it. He can't go back on his word, even if it hurts. In order for him to be the alpha male and the Republican president that he's going to be, he's got to, he can't show favoritism in any way. He can't have mercy on anything that he vowed on. But I still think, and I believe a lot of Republicans stand with you. And this is my closing remark right here, because on Kingdom Reacts, the last thing I heard was this Asian woman get up there and says she stand with immigrants, and that it's going to be a fight to the fight if, they try to touch them. Okay, let me say this. Do I believe that Trump should have mercy on illegals or immigrants here that are here illegally? Yes, I do believe that if you worked your way into college or you worked your way into building a business for yourself here in the United States, I do believe. Now, see, it's the problem with that, though. A lot of people that are building businesses here in the United States, non-white people, okay, from other countries, recently from other countries, are smuggling things. They're smuggling drugs, they're smuggling trafficking, they're smuggling crime. While they sit there and have a husband and a kid and live in a nice little pink house somewhere in some white neighborhood somewhere. They're smuggling stuff in here. Okay? So in Trump, you know, and because you got to ask yourself, where do these people go when they cross the border, when they climb over the wall? Where do they go? How did they know where to go? Oh, they know where to go. They're not going and hiding in your backyard. They do, but in most cases they don't. They know who to go to. This is why Trump had to go after everybody that is not legal. Illegal supports illegals. Okay? Legals don't want a problem with illegals. They don't want that blood on their hands. They don't want that war on their hands. Okay? That is first and foremost. Now, I feel sorry for somebody that's been in this country, and I believe a lot of them have a good heart, and they're here not to worship illegal immigration. They're here to worship freedom. But, you know, them papers, documents, okay? Papers, folks, papers. That's all you need. Papers, documents, signatures. That's all you need. Needed to be signed. Needed to be sent back. Needed for you to pay what you owe. If I can't pay my rent again, for whatever reason I can't pay my rent, I might be going through hard times. Maybe that's why I can't pay my rent. I'm going to be out of here. That's the law. That's the policy. But see, if you come in here on asylum, you come in here on a visa, you got to either keep renewing that visa, or you have to get a green card, I guess, or you have to become a complete American. Now, I think when you is the green card and the becoming, you know, having American status, being granted American status, is that the same thing? I don't know. I just know that women are sleeping with men. A lot of women from other countries are sleeping with white men here in America and other countries as Americans visit over there to get that green card. They want that green card. So that green card tells me that means that they have the American status that they need. They can do whatever they need to do in America. You know, I don't know how much a green card costs. I can look it up in 2 seconds while I'm doing this video, but that's for another video. But the thing is, whatever it costs, I'm pretty sure it ain't cheap. Whatever it costs, you got caught by immigration and you didn't have it. Neither were you legal, and your visa was up. So, you know, and I admit, again, mercy, because if you're here and you've been living here, and you were allowed to buy property without being a legal citizen, or you were allowed to rent property without being a legal citizen, That right there is our fault. Like, we shouldn't be allowing people to be able to purchase property and prop their feet up in this country until they got their green card or until they're made legal, however that goes. You know, if you're on a visa, you have a school visa or you have a work visa. Okay? And this is how they find people. This is how ICE is finding these people. They're finding them through a green card application that's not been filled out. They're finding them through visas that are expired. That's how they're finding them. Because all that stuff is documented. And all it do is take you a minute to go through a cardboard box or something and pull that out of there and look at it and say, okay, I need you to go to 101 Marcus Street in California, Los Angeles, California, and I need you to pick this broad up. Because even though you're illegal, you're documented. The other way they're finding you is through crime. And they're finding out that you committed a crime and you have no immigration status in this country. Who are you? You're not here under your real name. They can deport you alone for that. But they find out your real name, and they find out that you are part of a gang or whatever, you know. You were a criminal who escaped Mexico because you are a criminal. You've been on the run all your life. Mexico don't want you. Mexico ain't gonna do nothing but put you behind bars. You getting deported. We don't need to deport you. We need to lock you up. And some do get locked up. If they committed a crime in this country, they get locked up in this country. But if you are part of, you know, a gang or you're part of some kind of criminal, you know, mastermind, okay, they're going to just deport you because you was ready, you was attempting to commit a crime, but you didn't quite get there yet, but yet you are one of them. So goodbye. Okay? But again, this woman sitting up there saying, and that's what this video, this is what made me hit the record button. This woman getting up there saying, oh, we're with the immigrants, we're here for you, and if they think they're going to come in here and get you, it's going to be a fight. We're all going to fight. Well, bitch, this is the fucking America. This is fucking United States. Where do you think you're at? This ain't Walmart on Walmart soil. Walmart is either on American soil or somebody else's soil. That has a goddamn name. Nobody comes in here and says, oh, it doesn't matter whether they're legal or not. We're home. This is our home. No, it's not. If I go to China, let's see if I can talk that shit in China. Japan, the Philippines. I can't even talk that crap in Africa with my black self. Nowhere in the world except America do we get away with this shit. Sorry to cuss, but this woman got a lot of gonorrhea in her coochie to be saying some shit like that. Oh, well, this is our country. We are immigrants. We are here. We're going to be here. And if they think they're going to come in here, they're going to come in there. They're going to slap you so hard you're going to fall down with your panties showing. And you got what you deserved. Coming here talking that smack. You are about to be deported with your little pretty self. And they're going to snatch you right off that podium. gonna rip your dress snatching you off that podium. How dare you? This is why we vote for Donald Trump. This is why we need somebody like Donald Trump in office that don't give a shit. This is why Donald Trump hired that czar guy with his Shrek-looking face to go after these illegals. Because of bitches that talk like this. Now y'all made me cuss. I'm mad now. How dare you? The clock is ticking for you and you gonna talk that shit. What you should be doing every moment that you talk about fighting this, you could be making yourself legal. You could be asking for asylum all over again. There's ways to keep yourself from being deported even after Trump has entered office. But none of yous are doing that. And I have mercy for people that are so busy working and trying to get money and trying to get everything they need. And they're helping people, not just Spanish people or whatever race they are, but they're legally, innocently, community-wise helping everybody. You know, you run in the store and white people, black people, everybody's going into your little Spanish store and they're buying food every day. I feel for you. I wish Donald Trump would have mercy on you. You're not shipping people over here. You're not building homes for illegal and you are here for the American people. I wish Donald Trump would have mercy on you. But this woman, this Asian woman, she looked like she's Asian. She could have been Spanish. She could have been Filipino or something. I don't know. She got up there and said that. I hope they go in there and snatch her and everybody in there that ain't legal while she's doing that video. While she's up there on that podium talking. I hope they went in there and snatched them up. And there's a lot of Muslims that come into this country with that same attitude. This is our country. No, it's not. And even when you become legal, the American people, the white people, because even though this country was occupied by natives, the little bit of natives that were here, there wasn't 50 states of them, but the natives that were here, even though this country was occupied by natives, the natives are still here. They're still here. They choose to be up on the mountains and the reservations away from the general population. That's their choice. If I was Trump, I'd make them come off that mountain and sit at the table with the rest of us, with the rest of the family, like everybody else. They don't get to stay in their room all day. Come on down here with the rest of the family. That's the way I feel about that. There ain't no reservation. You either live in a city or a suburb like everybody else, or take your butt back to whatever country you think you belong in. But they're still here. So they didn't get deported. Just like the black slaves, they never had to get a green card. They're still here. Okay? If you are a Native American or you're a black person, you've been saved. Your ancestors saved you and paved the way for you to be free. Get that in your thick skull. Now, I forget what I was going to say because the clock is ticking. But America is a culture. And even, I know what I was going to say, even if you are here legally, we have a culture. And it's not Muslim culture. It's not African culture. Okay? It's not Confucius or Buddha. Okay? It's not rape culture. It's not a sex party. Okay? It's not, we are Americans. We are Christians. Okay? And we are atheists. But one thing for sure, we ain't everything. Okay? So there you have it. Thank you for watching. Talk to you later with more.